Hi, my name is Anna. Today we're going to be showing you how I make these beautiful paper flowers. We're going to be making a larger size of these. Keep in mind, you can always change the size and color to your likings. So let's get started. So the materials we will need are cardstock paper. These are the templates I'm using. I'm using 3 of them. This is my base. Use these because it's more comfortable to start with. My leaf and my centerpieces. I'll show you guys how to do them in a little bit. So these are the materials I'll use to put my flower together: a pen or a pencil, a scissor, glue sticks, and a glue gun. I put it on here because it's really hot, and some cardstock paper. You can use any color you want. I'm just using blue and cream, and for my leaf, a green one. So for my first step, I'm going to start tracing the templates on the paper, well, on the cardstock. It'll be really easy, and don't worry if you move, you just continue, and then repeat the step. That way you don't waste paper. Try to fit as much template on it as possible. Don't worry, it's okay, it's just your template. And then you start cutting. You can also, to save time, you can cut more than one paper at a time. But since I already have my templates cut out, I'm just giving you a little demonstration on how to cut these. And then giving me right there. Like I said, it's not perfect. Remember, petals are not perfect, but yeah. So I already finished my petals. I cut them all out. It's 6 petals each size. Now we're gonna go on to the incision, which is to give the petals some dimension. I do about a 2-inch incision. Something about like that. It doesn't really matter as long as you know how to place it, or you always place them the same. Now once we do that, I'm using this because it's easier for me. It's a little piece of a scissor, an old scissor, to curl the petals. I'm going to do an inside and an out. It's something to give the flower a little bit more look. So if you don't have that, you can always use a little tube. Fold the paper, cardstock. It's pretty easy to fold. Or you can also use your hands. A lot of the time, you just fold it, and once you do the overlapping on the incision, it's gonna look something like this. So this is the final look on curling the petals. This is all of them curled. But now we need to glue on the incisions like so. You use your glue gun. You can use a little bit, a lot, it all depends. Be careful not to burn yourself. So now we're going to use the base. You can use a circle, whatever you in mind, because you won't see this. This is why I'm using this color. You won't see it because you're going to have your flowers stuck on the wall. But after you do the incision, make sure that they look the same. That way you know your flower is not going to be crooked or stuff. But these look pretty much the same. Remember, they don't have to be perfect. But so then you just place them like this, because they're going to be, it helps you place them directly across from each other. I like to do the overlap. You can always try and put it on before you glue it to see somewhat how it's gonna look. These look fine. Okay, so let's start gluing. Just a little bit. You don't need much. You just start gluing it there. And right here. Remember, your flower's not always going to come out perfect, which is actually better because flowers are not perfect. The petals aren't always in the perfect spot. But if you are unsatisfied with the placing, you can always take it off. Sometimes I do that. It won't show at the end. If you didn't like how it looked, it won't show. So this is the first step on making your flower, sticking it on. All the glue stuff can go away just by pulling it. And then you will just place the rest of the petals on top. But I also want to try this other way that you don't really need the centerpiece. I also wanted to try sticking them without the centerpiece, like something like this, and then putting it on the flower we just did, because you know, maybe somebody doesn't want to use the starting piece, so you do a little bit and then you just stick it in there and you repeat the process. And remember, if you don't like it, you can always take it off and put it back on. I've never done it where I can't take it off and then I'll mess up my flower. But it's always better to just leave it how it comes out, because the imperfections are the best ways I find. And then you just put this on it, and then you'll see how it starts coming out as your flower. If you don't like this part, you can always take it off and overlap it. See, it's a big difference when you overlap your petals. Now we can just stick this, put hot glue all over, and you stick it on the flower, and you continue doing your small petals. This is how the flower should be coming out. If you see any of these, don't worry, just pull them out, it won't harm it. Like I said, you won't see that. If you're a little uncomfortable with the coloring, you could always use the same color paper, but it won't show. I'll show you later that it won't show. But now we're gonna start doing the centerpiece. So what I do to my centerpiece, I take a paper and I fold it. I have it pre-folded here. I fold it in half, I cut it, and then I fold another half for the little teeny one in the middle. I already have these cut out here. I'm only going to use one. So I have these cut out. Now what we have to do is bend them. There's other ways of doing this. You can use, there's little machines that work for this, little cutting tools. There's also this scissor that has 4 ends, but I have mine. So you just, it depends on how wide you want the little strips. I like them a little small. It doesn't matter if you bend the line. I mean, if you just go a little crooked, it's all fine. You repeat this step with the small one. This is how it should end up looking after you bend them and use your scissors and start cutting them up. That's the easiest way that I find. Then what you need to do is I usually fold them the opposite side to give it a little bit more volume. Then you just put some glue right down here and you stick them. You stick them down. Remember, be careful with the hot glue. There you go, give it some shape. And then you repeat the step with the small one. And then all you have to do for this, don't worry if you by mistake do that, don't worry, it won't show. Then you just start rolling them. You see that? For this flower, I roll it really tight, as tight as I can. But since it's bigger, I liked to stick it on the opposite direction like I just showed you. So these can be a little puffier. But always try to keep it as tight as possible. And then just add a little bit of glue so it could get stuck there, like so. Be careful with the hot glue. It should look something like this. This is the center of the centerpiece. And you just repeat this, give it a little bit of texture, and then you just stick it here and you add some glue. You add this here, make sure it's aligned with the bottom, and you just start rolling again. Don't worry if it's looking a little bit weird, then you could just play with it a little bit afterwards, after you're done. If you feel like it's going up a little bit, just push in and start adding some glue. You could add way less glue than that, but just to be safe, I like to add a lot. And you're done with your centerpiece. If you would like to look, since we have a big flower, if you would like for it to look a little bigger, you can do the big one. You can redo it and apply it on it again, and it'll look way puffier. But now all you have to do is play with it and pull the little sides, and you can add some volume to it and it'll look really pretty on the flower. And you just repeat this step until you're done pulling them apart. So I didn't like how my centerpiece was looking for this big flower. So I'm going to add another layer, the same size. So to add another layer, just try to pick it up a little bit and continue wrapping it around. Let me just make this a little bit. Continue wrapping this around until you get the satisfied look you like. So this is my centerpiece. Once you're satisfied with the puffiness, remember, just pull them down, whichever one you don't like that's sticking out too much, and you'll be done. And all you need to do is stick it on to the bottom. Add a considerable amount. I like to add a lot. And then you just stick it on there. Don't worry, no problem. You won't notice if it falls or anything. And and you're done. This is the final product. If you guys would like the petals I've just used, the template is going to be linked below. And so this is the final look. I added some leaves to the flower. All you need to do is trace them and do as many as you like. I like to put at least 2 to 3 for one flower. And it's all optional. If you don't like the leaves, you can always change them, get different ones. And yeah, thanks for watching.